that we're doing. And I want all of you to learn some verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So I will be sending in the group important verses. And I really want you to select your favorite verse and learn it by next Sunday. Okay, try to learn at least one verse other than what you had learned earlier. Okay, so spend some time with learning a verse. We have reached half of the Bhagavad Gita. We have, out of 18 chapters, when we complete today 9, we will be, halfway through the Bhagavad Gita, which is a big achievement. I congratulate you all for staying with me. And so let's quickly do a Guru prayer so that we can start with the blessings of all the Gurus. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I want you to also learn this Pancha Tattva mantra, because this Maha Mantra about Krishna, which liberates us, is given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is also an incarnation of Krishna. And Krishna wanted in this Kali Yuga that all of us chant, because by chanting we can get the same benefit as sacrifice or deity worship or temple worship of the earlier yugas. In this yuga, you simply have to chant the names. You will find in all religions, chant the names of the Lord and you will be liberated. You will get immense bliss. Okay. So that's why we remember Chaitanya and all those of his devotees at that time. Let's do Hare Krishna together, the Maha Mantra. All of you put your hands up, surrendering to Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah. Okay, good to see Misha and Rehan all saying Hare Krishna with me. Arav, Ritika, Arya, I think you were mute also, all of you. Okay, so revising chapter 8. The chapter 8, in fact, all chapters in Gita, they begin with a question, right? Some Arjuna has some questions. So we can see in chapter 8, Arjuna is again asking questions, a lot of questions related to the last verse of chapter 7. And the most important question was which one? Who remembers which was the most important question? Anybody remembers? It's important to revise because we tend to forget. The human brain is such that it will tend to forget. So the most important question is related to death, the final examination. Remember, the final examination of life is our own death. Each one of us has a final examination and we tend to forget. The most surprising thing is that people forget that they have to die. Okay, so remembering Krishna. Yes, Vihan, you have a doubt?
Ma'am, but in China, somebody was more than 100 years and he didn't died.
Yeah.
But in just COVID, he got died.
Yes. So people can live for 100 years, 110 years. In fact, in the initial yuga, Satyuga and all, people used to live for thousands of years. But then they have to die. Yeah. In the yugas of earlier yugas, people used to have very long lives. So now in the Kali Yuga, the life we are feeling as if it is increasing, but actually Kali Yuga, our lives are very short. That is why Krishna has given us a simple way of achieving liberation or being free from the material world, which is say the name of Krishna, remembering Krishna. And how can we remember Krishna when we are dying? That is by practice. And so Krishna will tell us how to practice so that we can remember him, how the bhakti can be inculcated. He shows us a difference between this material world and he tells us that there is a spiritual world, which is so beautiful. And why are we stuck in this material world where we have to die? There will be old age, there will be disease. Why are we stuck here? Because we have desires. Because, God has given us the choice to desire what we want. And if we desire something from the material world, we have to be born again after we die just to fulfill our new desires. And there are desires from so many births. And Krishna, in the last verses, he says how bhakti is the biggest thing in this, among all the yogas. Having pure bhakti, and that is love. Pure love for Krishna is the biggest thing. Yes, Vihan, I love to see that you're asking so many questions. Yes,
Ma'am, you told that everybody dies, but not everybody. Like when the earth will be finished, then Bajrang Bali will be died. But it will never finish.
all right. So, yes, there are some very great souls. In fact, no soul dies, Vihan. In the Gita, you missed the first few classes, right? In that, I had taught everyone that we are not this body. That is one of the biggest teachings of the Gita. And if you're able to understand that this body is not us, because the body will come to an end, it will become old, it will, come to an end. But the soul, which is the Atma or the consciousness, it will never die. It is along with Krishna, it is eternal. Just as God is eternal, our souls are also eternal. They are permanent. Okay,
But when we will die, where we will go?
that is what the Gita teaches us so beautifully, Vihan. When we die, because we have some desire, we will get a new body. We will again be born as a child of another mother. We may be born as an animal or a plant or another human being, or we may be born in higher, if we did a lot of good things, we will be born in higher planets, or we'll be born in richer, happier, the circumstances. If we have done sin, we'll be born in lower lives, or we will take a birth in animal life, which is not very pleasant. So,
But
according to our karma, the soul will go on taking birth. And Krishna in this chapter will reveal the secret. He will tell us how we can get rid of all these birth and death. We can become free and go into the spiritual world. And once the Atma becomes free from this material body which we got because we have desires, then we will be able to travel. There will be no need for all this space travel. You book go have a spaceship. So much of effort is not needed, because the soul, when it is free from the body, it can travel anywhere in the spiritual world or material world. They become free. So once you become free, and he tells us a secret in the Gita how we can become free. So these are the questions he asks, and Krishna answers about all these questions. What is Brahman? It is the Jiva Atma. What is Adhyatma? He says it is the nature of the Jiva, that is the self, which is, the controller of the body. Basically, the Adi Yajna is the Paramatma. Karma are the works that we do, which gives us fruits, by which we get another body. Adi Bhuta is nature. Nature is made up of three gunas. So, Vihan, you had missed the initial classes, so little bit you will be lost. But even those who attended all these classes, unless the Gita is so deep and so much to understand, every time you read, you will have to think and meditate upon it. Only then you will get little knowledge. It's not easy, because we are not having pure love for God. If we have it, we'll understand. God will bless us with knowledge the moment we have pure bhakti. But we are not now great bhakti. We are not able to love God purely with ananya bhakti. We are not able to do that. We want this, we want that. Every day we have so many things that we want. Unless we are free from that and we want only Krishna, then we don't get the supreme knowledge. Okay, but we try. We are going on trying by reading the Gita to understand something every day. And then he talks that the Paramatma or the Adi Yajna is situated in everybody's heart. And then he reveals the big secret of how to attain Krishna. The biggest question Arjuna asks is how to attain Krishna when you die. And Krishna will answer this question. He says, remembering Krishna at the time of death, you will be able to attain Krishna. Your soul, which is permanent, will not again be born. Okay, and remember I told you the story of this King Bharat. Who was this king? Who was this personality? You remember? Who remembers? Yes, Vihan? Arav, Arya, anybody remembers? Ritika? I can't hear you, Vihan.
Ma'am, this is King Bharata, and he was a pure devotee of the god. But as soon as he got attached with this deer, so Like he lost his track.
Yes, he lost track of his goal of getting God. Instead, he became so attached to the deer, he became born as a deer. When his soul escaped the body, it became born as a deer. And then even the next birth, he at last gets a human birth where he gets born as Jada Bharata. So there are so many beautiful stories in Bhagavatam, children. There is so much to learn from all that. So whatever one thinks at the time of death, that is what one gets, is what Krishna said in the 8th chapter. Therefore, he says, think of me. And then I told you about the Ajamila story also. Ajamila was also pure devotee, but he got attracted to a girl. But how later he gets saved because he is able to say the names of Krishna. He was able to call out his son, whom he named after Narayana. So, and how he at last he gets back to the to Krishna. So in chapter 8, we learned about the final examination of life, which is death. And how can we meditate on Krishna? In this chapter, in this verse, Shloka 8.8, he tells us. In fact, 8.9 to 8.22 is where he tells us how to meditate on Krishna. He says that these are the ways. Kavim. Okay, let's read the shloka once. Kavim Kavim Purana Manushasitar. Kavim Purana Manushasitar. Manoraniyam Samanusmaredyah. Sarvasya Dhataramicintya Rupam. Aditya Varna Tamasah Parastat. Krishna will tell us how we can think of him as a knower of everything. We can meditate on Krishna because he knows everything, past, present, and future. We can think of Krishna as everybody, the whole universe is born out of Krishna. We can think of Krishna as a supreme controller. Everything in the world is under Krishna's control. We can think of Krishna as he is smaller than the smallest. And we can think of Krishna as a maintainer. We can think of Krishna as Achintya Rupam. He is inconceivable, which we will learn in this chapter 9. Okay, children? We can think of him as Aditya, means sun. Nisha, what does Aditya mean?
I don't know.
Aditya means sun. So we can think of Krishna as Aditya Varnam, means the color of sun, the brightness of sun. You know, Krishna is as luminous or bright as the sun. We can think of him as bright as Krishna. We can think of him as Parastat, which means transcendental. Again, Rehan had missed the class. Araf, what is the meaning of transcendental?
And transcendental means like a supreme personality.
Transcendental means anybody else remembers? Yeah, that is similar. Arya, what is transcendental?
Spiritual.
Ma'am,
Spiritual.
spiritual and non-materialistic.
Non-material. Transcendental means something which is not material. It is transcendental, it is spiritual, it is not conceivable by our sense organs. So we had looked at these Navavidhi Bhakti. I had taught you how there are so many ways of doing Bhakti and how chanting is most important, right? And therefore, we had decided that all of us will try to chant at least one round every day. You know what? If you join 10 minutes before the class, from 9:50 next week onwards, 9:50 to 10, we will chant one round. That is 108 times of Hare Krishna. So at least on Sunday, you will start getting the practice, okay, of chanting 108 times. So in chapter 8, what all did we learn? We learned Arjuna's best question, how to attain Krishna. We learned about death being the final exam, when to prepare, what is the syllabus, how to prepare. What is the result? Result is freedom from this material world and being, having complete bhakti for Krishna, and how to attain the supreme, right? All these things we learned about, chanting being the most important. Now let's start chapter 9. Are we ready to start chapter 9, all of you? Ready to hear the biggest, most confidential knowledge? It's called Raja Guhya Yoga. This chapter 9 is called Raja Guhya Yoga. It's also called Ananya Bhakti Yoga. And it is the most confidential. Guhya means secret. It's actually, anyone can read the Gita and get the knowledge, but it's a choice which all of us make. You choose to come and learn the Gita. So it's your choice to learn it. It is not forced upon anyone. Like you have to do maths homework. There is no forcing, right? This is a choice. So it is a secret which gets revealed to those who are qualified. Ananya bhakti means unalloyed bhakti, pure bhakti. There's no desire. Oh Krishna, I'll do this. You should do this in return. There is no desire. It's pure. You just want to love Krishna. It's ananya. No other mixture, in that. So in chapter 9, you will learn how Krishna is inconceivable. People think that they know Krishna, but it's not possible. How do you know Krishna? It is only pure devotees who will know, and even they cannot really understand Krishna. He is inconceivable, not possible to understand Krishna. How does Krishna reciprocate with his devotees? Krishna is impartial. He loves everyone, but still to devotees, he has something very special. And how does he show that special? He will explain by the end of the chapter. And why should you perform devotional as service? This also we will see in this chapter. So 9.1 to 3, Krishna, for the first time in chapter 9, he will start glorifying the knowledge himself. In the beginning chapters, you find Arjuna asking questions, Krishna is replying, Arjuna is asking, Krishna is replying. Now in chapter 9, Krishna wants to say that you are ready, you are an ideal student, and I am going to teach you the knowledge. And he says why it is so, special. And then he talks about his relationship with this material world. He talks about Aishwarya Jnana. He will talk about how he is related to this material world. And then he will talk about people know that he is so great. Krishna is all powerful, so great. Still, there are some people who don't believe him. And there are different types of worshippers. Who are the people who believe him and who are the people who don't, and what are the results? Finally, he will talk about the glory of bhakti, because it is most important to know that. That is why he goes on repeating it so that we understand it very well. Now, in these 9.1 to 9.3, when he's explaining his knowledge, he says there are two qualifications to understand this secret knowledge. Two qualifications. Okay? That is, one should be non-envious and you should have faith. Now, who will have envy for Krishna? What is envy? When you hear something, somebody is being praised or someone is great, you feel you want, you don't like it. That is envy. And there are people who are envious of Krishna. When Krishna in the Gita will say, I am the ruler of this world, then people, some people, they feel envy. They don't like that, that. So unless they will overcome that emotion and accept that there is a supreme controller and that is Krishna, and I humbly, I am devoted to him, that emotion is not there, you cannot understand this king of knowledge. Second is, without faith, you can't understand. If you keep on questioning, you have no faith, you don't believe, it's not possible to understand. So two qualifications again he will explain. So he talks about qualification and he talks about the nature of the knowledge. Okay. So in this first shloka he says, Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshamyanasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajñatva mokshase shubhat. This is a very special verse. Krishna says that, oh Arjuna, because you are not envious of me, I am going to tell you the secret knowledge, which if you know, you will be free from all miseries. See, mokshase means free. Ashubhat means not, which is, shubh. All of you know what is shubh? Which is, auspicious, which is good. Ashubh means which is full of misery, not auspicious. So you will be moksha, you will get freedom from everything which is not auspicious. And you will get all auspiciousness. And when you know this knowledge, you will get auspiciousness. And how will you know this knowledge? You are knowing this knowledge because you are not envious of me. That's what Krishna says. And just to revise, what are the three confidential truths revealed in Bhagavad Gita? One of you can read it for me. Who will read? Misha, read the first one. Yeah, one by one, I'll give all of you a chance. Misha, read the first. Yeah.
We are not body. We are soul.
Yes.
Second, we have no right over the fruits of what we do We are not the only
Doer. Okay, Misha,
doer.
Ritika can read the third one. Okay, let me just explain the first two. In the first secret of Gita, Krishna had taught us we are not this body, we are actually the permanent soul. Second, he taught us that we have no right over the fruit. Suppose we will plant a tree, imagine, and the fruit comes, oh, this is my fruit, I planted the tree. No, you are not the person who, owns the fruit. Because Krishna has created the sun, he has created the nature, he has created you, and the fruit also belongs to Krishna. You are not the owner of the fruit. So, whatever happens, you think that, oh, I did it. Actually, you did not do. There are three doers. You remember I had taught you? You are not the doer of anything. There are three doers. One is the, who will remember, who can tell me, Ritika, can you remember who are the three doers? That's why she
Karma,
keeps revising. Arya, you remember the three doers?
ma'am, karma, akarma, and sakarma.
Akarma, karma, and vikarma are the three types of
Vikarma.
actions. The three
Yeah,
doers.
vikarma.
Yeah, those are the three kinds of actions. The three doers are, one is we ourselves, the Jivatma. We are doing. The Jivatma is doing because it desires something to be done. But nothing can be done without the permission of
Krishna.
Krishna, who is there in our hearts. Krishna, in the form of Paramatma in our hearts, gives sanction for anything to happen. Nothing can happen without the sanction of Krishna. So, one of the doer is the Paramatma himself. And there is a third doer. You remember who the third doer? The third is a bit tough if you can't remember, you need to revise. The third doer is the material nature itself. The material nature is made up of three gunas, about which lots will come in the last few chapters. They are Sattva Gun, Rajo Gun, and Tamo Gun. And those are there because of our own, so many past characteristics. We have those three gunas are mixed in all of us. Because of those gunas, which is there all around in the material nature, second, because of our own Jivatma, and third, with the permission of Paramatma. Only then something happens. So we are not alone to say, this fruit is mine. I studied, I came, got the highest mark. It's my achievement. It's never your achievement. That is the second karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. This is the most famous shloka in Gita. It says you have only right over your duty and you have choice over your desire. Nothing else is in your hands. So the third truth, Ritika, you read the third one.
Yes, ma'am. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagwan. Nothing belongs to us, including ourselves. We are eternal servitors of Krishna.
Yeah, so the supreme religion is to serve Krishna. And nothing belongs to us. We think that, oh, this house is mine, this gold is mine, this money is mine, I earned it. That, the sense of proprietorship is also very foolish because, nothing is, we are going to die one day. It's all going to go to somebody else's hands. And these are really not ours because even we belong to Krishna. So nothing really belongs to us. So it's once you learn the Gita very well and you understand and read it again and again and try to meditate on it, you will be able to really feel this and you'll be feeling joy because you don't have a sense of doership, you don't have proprietorship, it's all in Krishna's hands, and you can focus on your job, on your studies, or whatever is your duty, you can focus on that very well. Okay, so this paragraph, who will read? Arya, you wanted to read, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Just read this paragraph about the confidential truth.
Yes, ma'am. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Bhagavad Gita 3.27, the person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. He does not know that the mechanism of the body is produced by the material nature, which works under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. The Person in false ego takes all the credit for doing everything independently, and that is a symptom of
This time, so
nescience.
thinking is a false knowledge, just like false ego.
He does not know that this gross and subtle body is the creation of material nature under the order of the supreme personality of Godhead.
Right. So the whole Gita in chapter 2 itself, we learn all these things. So chapter 2 of Gita itself, we had understood these confidential knowledge. Again, one more question I want us to think about. Ritika, can you explain why bad things happen to good people?
It's not like good people does not face bad things. It's like there should be a balance of good and bad things happening in your life, and bad things basically happen so that like Krishna is basically trying to examine them whether they can be more qualified as they are now.
Okay. Can you read this
Maybe.
slide also and explain it?
Yes, ma'am. Why bad things happen to the good people? Because you have planted a seed sometime in the past. The seed is a wrong or bad deed. The action has happened sometime back. It takes time for the reaction.
Yeah. So if a bad thing has happened to you, be sure that you only have put the seed. You have yourself done the action. If not in this life, in some previous lives, you have already done that action, and the bad thing is only a result of that. Okay, so we are falsely thinking that, oh no, I'm so good, I do everything. Why this bad thing had to come to me? Or you look at the other people in the world, such a bad man, he's getting all good things, he's rich, he's happy. Actually, it is all when you sow a seed, when you do an action, immediately you may not get the reaction. Sometimes it will take a few births. There is a that each seed has a time. Only after the time the reaction will take place. So that is the reason. So in this next slide, children, if the meeting gets over, please join again. We also have to read a quick small story, which is very nice. So why bad things happen to good people? We are all always doing, like how Ritika said initially, good things and bad. Some things we don't know which is good, some are sinful, some are pious. Based on that, we will get happiness or suffering. And the pious and sinful acts that we are doing in future, in the present time, we are getting happiness or suffering because of our past actions. And right now, what you are doing is deciding your future happiness and suffering. So what you do every minute is deciding your future. What kind of birth you will get next body, now you are deciding. Okay, and so it is not true that bad things don't happen to good people or good things don't happen to bad people, because whatever is happening is simply what you are reaping, because you reap what you sow. And Krishna consciousness, if you are able to keep your consciousness with Krishna, that is your soul all the time thinking of Krishna, it is most amazing thing that the whole chain of all your previous karmas get destroyed. So that is the secret of being able to escape from again and again being trapped in this jail of the material body and in this material world. The secret is to be Krishna conscious. So, and Krishna says that why is this a secret? He's explaining what is the speciality of this knowledge. Not everybody can understand, children. If you are here in the Gita class and if you're understanding, I just understand that you're very special. Somehow these things have worked out and you're able to understand these things. This knowledge is actually the king of education. It is the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest, pavitramidam. It's pure. Knowledge in Gita is pure. It's uttamam. It is the supreme. And it is because it gives us a direct perception of our self realization, and it is a perfection of religion. What is perfection of religion? It is simply to serve God, to understand that religion, that our duty is to serve God by doing our duties well. And we understand that bhakti is the eternal activity of the soul. So we also come to know in 9.3 that those who are not faithful, who do not believe Krishna or they do not do devotional service, what happens to them? They have to come back to this world. They will again be born, again they will be in this material world. They have to go through the four painful things. One is birth. Birth is also painful experience. We feel that, oh, a child is born, yay, you're so happy. But actually the baby has gone through a difficult time to be born. So birth, then there are diseases, then there is old age and death. Each of them are miseries in this world. And anywhere, even if you're born in heaven or you're born in a rich family or you're born in a highest of highest births, if it is in the material world, you will have to go through all these four difficulties and you will have to die and again come back unless you are able to do a karma, like how Arya was saying, where you are not, doing good deeds also, bad deeds also. You're giving everything to Krishna and then it becomes, you're in Shuddha Tattva, you're in a pure, devotion. And then you don't have to come back. You will become a spiritual soul, free spiritual soul. And then in this chapter, he talks about, after explaining the knowledge, so Krishna will begin this chapter, this secret knowledge. He will explain how it is secret, to whom he will give this knowledge, who will understand. Some of them, in the war, the whole Gita Krishna explained to Arjuna, and Dhritarashtra hears the whole Gita from Sanjaya. Sanjaya is telling him, but Dhritarashtra did not understand a word. He could not understand the secret teaching because he is not qualified. He does not love Krishna. He does not have any bhakti. He does not have faith. He is very envious. So he did not understand. Everyone cannot understand Gita. Okay, so
Krishna don't have baby.
Krishna had his children. Yes, he did have. Vihan, you are asking the question. See, Krishna. So one of the other important thing you learn in the Gita, Krishna tells you is that you have to understand that Krishna is not an ordinary person. He's not just a human being like you and me. He is actually God. So when he comes on the earth, he pretends to be a human being. He gets, he has children. He behaves like a naughty child. But he shows, by many things which happen, we know that he is not an ordinary person. And the funny thing is, many people, even when they were near Krishna, they did not know that he was God. They thought he was just any other ordinary child. Only those who are devotees can see that, oh, he is actually God. Yes, Vihan? What do you want to ask? The meeting will get over in 4 minutes. You can join again. Yes, Vihan? Did you raise your hand? No? Okay.
Man, Krishna was a human only, but he has so much knowledge that he got a God. He's a human only.
No, Vihan. That's what Krishna will tell us in the Gita, dear. He will explain to us that he comes in the form of a human being, but he's not like flesh and blood like us. Krishna is divine.
But he
Has
got
not
so,
become
he
God.
has powers and he has so much knowledge that he can control the world. That's why, and he did so much meditation. That's why.
No, he does not become God. Vihan, he does not become God because he did meditation. He is already God. Okay? That is what people get confused. People think that, oh, Krishna was born a human being. Actually, Krishna was born, and he took the form of a human being, but he is and will always and was always God. Krishna has always been God. That is why Krishna says it is not possible to understand Krishna. Okay, so look at this shloka from Ishopanishad. Ishopanishad, it says that the God, he walks, but he does not walk. He's far away, but he's also very near. He's within everything, and he's also outside everything. So this we will explore this, how he is within everything and he is without everything. We can look at the story where Yashoda, she sees the whole universe inside the small mouth of Krishna. So we'll read that story and come back, we'll come to the new meeting and we'll start reading the story, okay, of how Yashoda sees the universe in Krishna's mouth. We'll read that story. It's a very nice story and it's good to contemplate. Okay, so come back. I'm ending this meeting. All of you, please come back in the same meeting. We have 20 more minutes of class.
Yes.